better. You back up.
Happy Monday, Plug Talk Sports, episode 95. Myself, Danny Torres. We got Isaac in the house. We got Jonka in the house. And we got Brandon. First of all, we need to give a round of applause for Brandon because he had the courage to get on here tonight knowing it's going to be a 3-against-1. We're going to go at him today. It's going to be fun. I've been waiting for 9 p.m. tonight since yesterday. I was like, I can't wait. I can't wait to get to Brandon on Monday night. This is the moment. This is the moment. And we're here. But we thank you guys for joining us. This is going to be a historical moment for Brandon. It's a make or break in his career. We'll see what happens.
Pressure on this episode, man. I feel like more pressure than Joe Mazzulla right now. It's ridiculous.
It's going to be fun in all sincerity. We're going to jump right into it, a topic that we want to talk about. So we're going to skip our shameless plugs and plugs of the week. We're going to get right into it. Guys, let's talk about Phil Neville.
Yes.
And I know Isaac's don't want to talk about this because Isaac's now a Orlando resident. And if you guys know, this past weekend was MLS rivalry weekend, and it was here at Drive Pink Stadium. Inter Miami hosting Orlando City. And, man, what can I say? Miami comes into this one, midweek clash against Nashville. They lost, come back home. You know, they got the crowd. The crowd was there.
Yeah.
The crowd showed up, which, by the way, I mean, they try to do this for TV. I don't think it's a good look. I don't like it. But they try to infuse fake fan noise through the speakers at Drive Pink Stadium to make it louder.
So
it's very sad. It's very sad. I don't like it. It's not a good look. They try to do it for TV reasons. Look, Orlando goes up 1-0 in the 36th minute with a flick from Kara, which, by the way, like, Drake Callender didn't even see that ball coming. Like, it just went right past. He was just kind of like, oh, okay. Like, didn't see that coming. It's 1-0. DeAndre Yedlin being the creator again. He connects with Joseph Martinez, who gives the top of the box to Leo Campana, who absolute rocket of a shot past Pedro Galese to equalize 1-1. Look, it's a 1-1 match. Here we go. You're right back into the rivalry, into the match. You know, keep your composure from here. From here on out, it just doesn't even get better. 60th minute, somewhere in the 60th minute, Orlando scores. They go up 2-1. And then in the 86th minute, I believe, another Orlando goal to make it 3-1. Miami drops back-to-back games. They are now in 12th of the Eastern Conference. And it got ugly. I think it got ugly starting with the post-game conference. I think I've sent it to all of you guys on Instagram or rather Twitter. Look, here's the first thing. People were very confused on why the hell, when you're losing a game as a rivalry game, you sub in 3 defenders when you're losing. Like, hello? And one of them's your son, but it's Harvey Neville gets subbed. And it's like, you're losing. Why are you subbing? And you're at home. Like, do you think the crowd wants to see? That's like the sign of giving up. Like, you've given up. And there was an incident in the press conference where a good journalist, Franco Panizo, I've talked to him various times over my time at Inter Miami, and I saw him when they played Miami FC. We talked and chatted for a little bit. Look, the thing with Franco is he calls it how it is. And they don't like that over in Inter Miami, they prefer, reporters who are going to give them softball questions and don't criticize the team at all. And Franco will go at you, will give you tough questions and criticize when he needs to. He did, and I think what irked Phil Neville the wrong way was it kind of interrupted. I don't know what happened to Isaac, but I'm just going to continue. He kind of irked Phil Neville the wrong way by interrupting him and literally just said, "Hey, man," like Phil Neville just went off and dropped the F-bomb. I can get he was frustrated at the moment, but it's still not a good look.
Not at all.
It can tell the pressure's getting to you. And then today, what's dropped on social media is absolutely insane. The Inter Miami fans, specifically Vice City, tremendous tifo banner. I think it's going to be in the U.S. Open Cup game tomorrow against Nashville at Drive Pink Stadium. They'll be playing it or displaying it. It says Neville out. I'm not going to lie. Like, if I'm Phil Neville and I see a whole banner that says Neville out and I see this whole thing going around social media, like, that's pretty embarrassing. Like, that sucks. Like, flat out, that sucks.
Yeah, it's honestly one of the worst things that caught. I mean, again, beginning of the season, great start, and I was a huge supporter for Phil Neville, of course, of Inter and the Herons. But my apologies.
No, you're good.
Quick water break. I got to make sure I get everything accurate here. Franco himself. Because since the club's beginning, Franco's been there since day one. Yep. We talk about during the COVID year. We talk about during his own podcast with, I believe it's MIA Total Football, and also his work with Sun Sentinel. Yep. I mean, Franco has been the guy for Inter Miami in the sense of media relations. Yep. And also, shout out to Miguel Paz, former FIU student with me. Yep. There's a lot of guys who are homegrown South Florida guys who are covering this team. And I just feel like what happened with Phil Neville and Franco, it's not only like a shot at just media and journalism, but it's also a shot of, the community around South Florida. Yeah. Like, you can't answer these questions. And I mean, Danny, you talk about this all the time. Phil Neville over a loss is just like, oh, the guys play great. They look like a real club together, this and that. But where are the results? It's getting to a point where even the team fan bases, which are always posting on their social media, now they're putting up the wrong media for them and Phil Neville.
Tired.
It's exhausting. And especially against a Classico where it's like Orlando City. I mean, Orlando, they're like in the middle of the pile, right? Yeah. But that shouldn't be a 3-1 loss, in my opinion, at home. Which is really, honestly, is really embarrassing.
I agree with you. They're a team that's in the middle of the table right now in the Eastern Conference. It shouldn't be that bad of a loss. And I just think this fan base has grown tired of, we get all this talk from Phil Neville and post-game conferences of like, oh, the team's playing together. They got confidence and all that stuff. And I just think the fans are tired of it. They just don't want to hear it anymore. They just want to see the results. So they're going to be making their voices heard. And I think for the next upcoming days or how long ever this is, it's not going to be pretty for Phil Neville and the organization.
Mm-hmm.
Janka?
I think you both hit it on the nail right there because forget about it.
Give me your opinion.
I was watching the game. Once it was 1-1, I was like, when Campana hit that shot, I was like, and then all of a sudden, wide open 1v1 against the goalie, right in, boom, instantly knew the game was over.
Yeah.
How do you give up a play that easy?
Yeah.
This team right now is really giving me some sort of
There's a little ick situation going on.
I don't know what to say. Phil Neville, he was having a bad day, bad game. His emotions were high, whatever. Okay, you know what? Let's forget about it. But you start off the season, you win the first game, and then you go on and you play Philadelphia Union. You beat that team, and everybody's like, okay, this team's on a roll right now. And then all of a sudden you just drop. And you just trash. And then you win 5, and then you win 5 in a row. But most of them were kind of like wins because they were with nobodies. But
well, realistically, they won 5 in a row, but 2 of them were U.S. Open Cup, but we're talking about MLS. They got 3.
Yeah, that's what I mean. So I don't really count those as wins for the MLS. I don't see them as real wins. Now you dropped it. Now this happens. Now everybody's asking you to get out. We've been saying this since like last year, but that's neither here nor there. But at this point, bro, make me coach. Make me coach. I swear I can put a better lineup than Neville can. I swear.
Get Junk on the sidelines, people. Make it happen, man. Get the Adidas booster. You know, actually, the real question, what type of coach would you even be, though? Would be like a suit guy or the sweatsuit type of coach?
I think John could be a sweatsuit.
I'd be a special kind of coach. I'd be wearing some Adidas joggers. Some slides and like a Goku t-shirt.
Okay. A coach of the people. I like it.
And then I would be the one to tell the real shit. If you're playing bad, I'm gonna call you out. I'm gonna take you out of the game. No hesitation. Hey, I don't care what anybody says.
Listen, there's another topic in the world of soccer that I want to talk about. That I'm not sure if you guys have heard about it, but Vinicius Jr. from Real Madrid, absolutely disgusting scenes what's happened to him in La Liga in Spain. I don't know, Brandon, if you've heard about what's going on, but he was racially abused in a match against Valencia, this is not the first time in La Liga that this has happened to him. I remember in their derby clash against Atletico de Madrid, the Atletico fans hung a fake doll with the Real Madrid jersey, and it had Vinicius, the name on it, and hung it from a bridge with the rope around his neck, and they hung it there. And, you know, he has quietly said behind the scenes, you know, his displeasure about it. The La Liga president has done absolutely nothing about it. Absolutely nothing. And then this past weekend, I think he's had enough of it. It was very, very difficult to see him because before a player, he's a person. And it was very difficult to see him as a person on the field with literal tears in his eyes. The whole stadium, a good portion of the stadium was chanting mono, which in English that means monkey, and there was videos of fans wishing him to die. It's not correct. I know a lot of people were kind of frustrated with Karim Benzema, who is the captain of Real Madrid. They felt that he should have brought his team to walk off of the field together and not continue that match, which people felt that maybe if Sergio Ramos was still at Real Madrid and he was the captain when he was at Madrid, that Ramos would have done that. But honestly, having watched Madrid and it being my club, it's 2 different personalities. Benzema is more of a quiet, you know, guy, doesn't really get involved in anything. Ramos is the more guy that's going to be in your face and go at you. But something needs to change, man. And this is a bad look for Spain as a country. It's a bad look for La Liga. You know, just for example, Kylian Mbappe, who's been, you know, rumored and linked to Real Madrid for a while now. What does he think? Be like, okay, why do I want to go to La Liga now, seeing that, you know, Vinicius, who's on the team I'm interested in going to, is being racially abused like that? Or for anybody around the world who's thinking about going to La Liga, you know, a person of color, like why would they want to go there? And it's sad that it's a Spain issue. It's a La Liga issue because they have played 3 English teams in the Champions League, you know, throughout the course of this year: Liverpool, Chelsea, and Manchester City. And he got nothing but praise and respect from the English people. And then he goes back to Spain and his own, you know, league in the own country he's living in, and he gets racially abused. So it's definitely a problem that La Liga needs to fix. I do know that the referees, all the referees, including the VAR referees that were in charge of that game, have all been fired by the Spanish Federation because they did nothing about it as well.
And the red card too.
Yeah.
Later in the game.
Vinicius ended up getting a red card for literally nothing. I mean, he was angry. He was upset.
He was the one getting choked, though. There was a Valencia player. Danny, do you know if the Valencia player also got a red? Because I didn't see that.
Nope. Vinicius was the only player that got booked. There was nothing for the Valencia player either. But it's good to see the whole world is coming together right now. I mean, Neymar, Mbappe, even the president of Brazil came out and defended Vinicius. But it's disgusting, and there's no place for that in the world, but and sports.
I'd like to see Valencia get charged. Obviously, we can talk about money, we can talk about like stuff like that, but I like them to see not only just do an internal investigation to see who it was, which is hard to see because Danny, you sent me the video and it's like half of the stadium or even more than half just singing like those horrible things. But I like to see La Liga also charge the team itself. I'm talking about points. I'm talking about matches. Maybe not their entire season, because it's already late in the season. It's not really going to do anything. But at least, I don't know, 3-4 games where they just take off the 3 points each game. I mean, Valencia really has to take things serious because if it's Vinicius, it's anyone. I mean, and like it's so disheartening because he's such a talented player.
Yeah.
Everybody wants to pay to go see Vinicius.
Yeah.
He's such a talented player. And like you said, Danny, like Mbappe is interested in Madrid. Why should he go over there if that's how, those guys are being treated? So, yeah.
Hey,
it sucks.
My biggest fear is that who knows, like he has the right, like if he does this, and I'm a Madrid supporter, like if he does this, like I'm all props to it. If Vinicius just says, "Hey, I don't want to play in this country anymore," and he leaves Madrid, like I can't be
the best league in the world. Come to the Premier League, the best league in the world.
I can't be upset about that. I can't be upset about him wanting to leave after what he's just been going through in Spain.
Or Bellingham too.
Yeah. I can't blame him.
They gotta take it serious for sure. Like La Liga has to like really make them an example. I hate to say that because we talk about players or teams or just people get treated the wrong way because the league is trying to make an example. But this is a perfect example, no pun intended, to do that. To make sure that there's bans, make sure that those fans are banned, that there's points taken off of the standings, because this can't happen. And it's happened already multiple times.
Yep.
Not just this season, but throughout the years.
Yep.
For Vinicius. So yeah, man, it sucks.
And listen, in my times throughout MLS, they have adopted this system, and I have seen it happen. When I was working CONCACAF Gold Cup, there were some racist things that were said, and the referee has the authority to stop the match, and everyone would just stop. And if the chants keep happening, then the referee has the authority, and these are the rules in CONCACAF and MLS, to pull everyone from out of the field and say, hey, we're not going to play because these chants continue. But in La Liga, it's no such thing, and I have a very big respect for Xavi Hernandez, the coach of Barcelona, who is our ultimate rival, backed up Vinicius in Madrid, and it was very good to see that he backed us up and said, hey, this can't happen. I don't care if that's our rival, our biggest rival. Like, it's not even about soccer or our rivalry. It's about humanity as a person.
I want to just say too, like right before everything kind of escalated, before Vinicius was getting choked, before the red card, before any of that, remember, like in the video you sent me, what like in the middle of the play, what was that triggered everything? Somebody threw another soccer ball in the middle, like right in the penalty box.
He had the ball and he was driving into the box, and he had a clear lane.
Another ball, like from the crowd.
Right.
That can't be allowed. Are you kidding me? That cannot be allowed. Like fans throwing stuff on the stands and the referees don't do anything. They're more worried about him reacting to being choked than the choke itself, than the fans. I mean, I'm glad those people got fired.
Well, it was very ridiculous because he had a clear lane to be a one-on-one with the keeper. Yeah. They threw the ball, it hit the ball, and took it out of the path, and then the referee proceeded to give the ball back to Valencia. Like, what?
Just disgusting.
Yeah.
The entire sequence is just like, another reason why the Premier League is the best league in the world, Danny.
I can't argue with that. I can't. As much as I love Spain, I love my heritage from there, and I love La Liga. I can't complain about that. But let's get into some hockey. Right now, we are currently in the second period, 11 minutes left. Game 3 between the Carolina Hurricanes and the Florida Panthers, and we're all deadlocked at 0. For the love of God, someone between now and the third period put the puck in the back of the net. I am tired. I am losing age by the hours here of these people wanting to go to overtime. I don't get it.
It makes no sense. But hey, let me tell you though. I mean, because I know we talked about this before we got on the podcast. Western Conference, same thing with the Eastern Conference. Everyone's going to overtime now. I mean, these are two aggressive defensive squads. I mean, especially I don't know how many of you guys stayed up for that game 1.
Yep.
But man, telling you right now, 2:00 in the morning, Kachuk to go home. It was just an insane sight to see that. Guys are just in the neutral zone, just throwing the puck into the net, hoping for prayers. But
let me tell you, the conversations that me, Brandon, and Jonko were having at 1:30 in the morning wasn't even about hockey. It was someone please end this.
I read the entire chat after. I'm like, what the hell?
It literally, I told Jonko, I told him, it literally felt like a never-ending loop of torture. Is what it felt like. It's 4 overtime periods in game 1. They came out with a very cool statistic and graphic. Shout out to the Panthers who on their social media team who does great graphics. Yeah, they put out a graphic and a stat that they skated 107 miles in that game 1, and the distance was from Isla Morada in the Keys all the way to their arena in Sunrise. That is the distance that they skated.
Absolutely insane.
I saw that and I was like, well, no wonder there was guys in the locker room getting administered IVs into their arms. Crap, man. That's a lot.
No, yeah. Plus, not even that Montour. The guy had more than an hour by himself skating around, which is insane to talk about.
Yeah. But nonetheless, it's a 2-0 serious lead. They're back in Sunrise. They're in Brandon's backyard. And there we go. There we go.
Got a little Barkey jersey today.
Yeah, I like it. If they win today, they go up 3-0. And that's all she wrote for me. If they go up 3-0, they're going to the Stanley Cup Finals, gentlemen.
No, yeah. I mean, I really do like this Panthers squad because not only just the history of what this playoff is, right? I mean, we talk about beating out one of the top teams to ever play in the NHL regular season, the Boston Bruins, through 7 games, and then you figure out a way to beat out the Maple Leafs in 5. We're in the again. Oh, we just scored 2. We just scored 2, which means
baby, let's go. I've seen it.
So yeah, so right now, again, always reporting live. I think it was Sam Bennett. It might have been Bennett. Reinhart. Yes, Reinhart. Ooh, great goal. Reinhart. Either way, the biggest thing about that is the first goal in South Florida in an Eastern Conference Finals since 1996.
Yep.
The Panthers are on this historic run. I think almost every single sport in South Florida is on a rising high besides insert. But for the Cats themselves, they just hate to lose. We talk about game 1 and 2, 4 overtimes, and then game 2 you have an overtime, both being game winners by Kachuk, who honestly – I hate the fact we got rid of Huberdeau for him, but we definitely won that trade. I think Kachuk, if we do win the Stanley Cup this year, he does have number 19 retired in the rafters, right next to number 16 and 72. Exactly. But Bart, because actually before I even go to Bobrovsky, I do want to say one thing because there was a development in the first period. Alexander Barkov, Sasha, our captain might not be back later on this series. They're saying it's a broken arm, broken hand. They're still seeing right now. I'm going back and forth with Twitter, and some of my guys are in the building that are in the ticket office building, more or less, in FLA Live. But Sasha, apparently, if we do make it out of this series, it's going to be a little bit hard offensively without Sasha Barkov, who, as we all know, in Game 2 had that fake between the leg goal. Guy's ridiculous at 25, 26 years old.
That was ridiculous.
Yeah, but I'm telling you right now, I mean, if you ask me, besides Kachuk, besides Barkov, and even the Stahl brothers, I mean, Sergei Bobrovsky, man. I mean, every single time I'm on this podcast, I feel like I'm always giving his flowers now. He's been insane. The GOAT. The GOAT. Man blocks what, 50 to almost 60 shots in game 1. Game 2, the same thing. In this game 3, I mean, the Hurricanes, they ended up like more aggressive team, I think, in my opinion. They definitely showed it starting off in game 3, but Bob is right there. Pad save here, glove save. There's even a moment where he had like a Jimmy Ness glove save where he just looked at the puck and is like, who does that? Who does that? So, I don't know. It's just South Florida teams. You know, this one got a little bit of swagger on the ice right now, but the Panthers making history, though. Gotta love it.
Oh, man. I feel confident. Isaac, go ahead.
No, I mean, go ahead, Danny, because I was going to actually flip it to the Western Conference with a question for Brandon. Go
for it.
All right. No, I'm not huge on hockey. Of course, I love my Panthers, and I've been following them, but who do you think is the better team, like in the Western Conference Series? Who should we be scared of or more scared of?
In the Western,
Stars and Knights.
The Knights.
Yeah, the Golden Knights. The thing is, it's really weird because the way that they have the expansion draft in the NHL, you basically got all these mid-level group guys on NHL rosters, and you immediately make a playoff team, like the Seattle Kraken have done in their time. The Vegas Knights has been the same thing. Their first year, they made it all the way to, I think, even the Stanley Cup final. So this is a team that's already been tested. Yes, exactly. So this is a team that's already been tested. And, of course, in the West, I mean, they had a much easier road than the Stars. The Stars, they had to find out a way to beat out the Kraken through 7 games. And, you know, there's a lot of young guys on that team. Unfortunately, I don't have the exact name of the kid. He's a specific Canadian kid. And I think Asian Islander, I believe, descent. But he's still very talented. So they got themselves, you know, young roster coming against this Vegas team. And for me personally, I think Vegas got it in the bag. We're talking about a 2-0 series lead they have. But, of course, you know, the series, it moves on to Dallas. And for the Stars themselves, I mean, they've been able to close out games. The real question is, can they avoid a deficit, whether that be a 3-1, 3-0? And I just think the Vegas Knights, they should be able to win that 1 in 6. But either way, the Panthers, I think whoever makes out of the East, the way that both of these teams have been playing defensively throughout 4th line, 3rd line in the neutral zone, whoever makes this series out in the Eastern Conference will win the Stanley Cup. That's what that's what my belief is.
That's comforting. Thank you for that.
I don't know, man. You're wearing. I mean, it's me, Brandon, John. We got some red on us. You're wearing Tampa Bay Lightning over there.
Hey. This is a Hot 95. It's the hip hop station like closest to me. Okay. They're actually a Christian hip hop station, so they got positive, you know, Christian music. I just went to one of their events like not too long ago with my dad, but and the lights actually came or turned off like 4 times. The mics weren't working. It was a small event, but like you could appreciate it. But yeah, Hot 95, bro. If you're ever in Central Florida, they're the ones to listen to.
Well, you gotta tell them we gotta be praying for Barkov, man. That's what we gotta be
getting. A power play. Sebastian Ayo just was caught for slashing.
Damn, that's so dangerous too.
No, actually, I mean, again, like both of these teams have been super physical, man. Like I'm telling you right now, I wouldn't be surprised if this game did not end with a fight after regulation.
I could never, bro. I could never. I don't know if you ever seen like that video of I'm probably bringing negative energy into it, but you ever seen that video of that one hockey player get his like
throat
cut in the middle of it by a blade in the middle of the game?
Hey man. Dude. Let's go. Hey, let's all go drive to Sunrise right now and help him throw hands.
With pots and pans, too. We'll be over there with pots.
Guys, we have arrived at the moment, and we're dedicating 30 minutes for this. This is the moment. The Miami Heat have taken a commanding 3-0 series lead over Brandon's Boston Celtics. They took game 1 and 2 at the TD Garden, obliterated Boston in game 3. Before any of us go, let's give the stage to Brandon. Let's hear what he has to say, and then we can all go at him. Brandon, the stage is yours.
All right. Well, for those who don't know, for those who are watching, You said what?
Was that the Celtics coach asking for the blueprint?
I hope not. If he's asking me for the blueprint less than 24 hours before tip-off, oh Lord, man.
All right, go ahead.
But yeah, I mean, for those who do not know, I also have multiple platforms I've been on. Like recently, with my Courtside podcast, I had an episode uploaded this morning.
Yep.
And so before I do that, I always go into rewatching the nightmare that was Game 3 of Celtics versus Heat, and I just couldn't stop and think throughout this entire series that. And it's funny because it also does relate to the media press releases that they had this afternoon, actually, with Boston. But the Miami Heat have been able to find historic events within these games. You look at, again, not saying anything from the bubble, but 46 points in the third quarter, that's most in a playoff in the franchise's history for Miami. Game 2, Caleb Martin. And again, Caleb Martin's an absolute bucket. And unfortunately for the Boston Celtics, they had an issue getting on off-ball defensively against Caleb Martin and Duncan Robinson in Game 2. Caleb has 25 points, a career high off the bench. And then I don't even know how Gabe does it. Like, I was watching Gabe Vincent in Game 3. I'm like, this guy is shooting 70% from the floor? He's like Damian Lillard out there. Had 29, a career high in probably one of the biggest playoff games. I think in my honest opinion, the best shooting playoff game I've ever seen, including whatever Golden State has in the bag in their time with Curry. But yeah, I mean, from the Miami Heat themselves, they've just been honestly red hot. And I hate to say it, white hot. We talk about a sea of white when Gabe Vincent and Doug Robinson just, put in a mirage of three-pointers. I think the Miami Heat finished off Game 3 shooting not only above 50% from the floor, but also from three. And the same thing when they say with the Celtics, going against the Atlanta series. The two games they lost against the Hawks, it was a Trae Young game when he had 38 points with a last-minute heat from three, and he was shooting close to, I think, 55% from the floor. And then the other one where you have Atlanta shooting 65% or above as a team. Those situations, you can't stop that. There was, through the three games, and again, I understand people saying that the Celtics are quitting this and that, but what else can you do if you were going against a team shooting better than 50%? A point guard doing better than 70% from the floor. And also you look at the numbers around. I mean, of course, the Boston Celtics, they have had leads in the first half of games. And then, of course, I know we'll go into this later on in this podcast, the Grant Williams trilogy with Jimmy Butler and the whole timeout scenario. But if you ask me personally, it's just been the Boston Celtics. They haven't been able to respond to these momentum runs. And it was the exact same thing in the Philadelphia series. And to just solidify it, Malcolm Brogdon, the sixth man of the year, who had 0 points in Game 3, was probably the worst player in Game 3, was just throwing balls up right next to Derek White. He ends up saying that throughout the entire season, the Celtics didn't really have an identity. And as he quoted, Wade, or whatever the word is, it was kind of like deteriorating throughout the season as their offense was doing good, but their defense, they couldn't really support behind it. So, Lord and behold, the mask is uncovered. Boston, the offense does bad. They have a momentum shift with the Heat going crazy, and they just fall apart. They can't get shots open. You got Jaylen Brown running to guys for no reason. Marcus Smart can make open threes. Derek White can make open threes. You got guys like Kevin Love, outgassing people on some possessions. So what I would say, and again, that's what I think is probably happening right now with the Boston Celtics. The last thing I would say before, what's the future like for the Celtics? I'm a huge analytical guy, right? I watch these games, and I mentioned in our group chat during the time, and let alone to the 50 people that were calling me on a Sunday night, FaceTime me at like 3 in the morning. I kid you not. A guy at Hard Rock Casino was trying to say, like, oh, what happened? I'm like, what do you have to rule that table worrying about me for, But but basically, I look back at the high 2-3 zone, the Heat. And the weird thing about the Heat's high 2-3 zone, Eric Spoelstra, again, with his aggressive Heat culture, it feels like a 4-1 zone where you have to move the ball around the perimeter, but you can't get inside the paint. Guys just slide right through. So you have that defense, good pressure, and then on offense, the thing I hate about the offense for the Miami Heat, and I always say it, I'm going to use the perfect example with Duncan Robinson. Duncan Robinson either makes the shot like nothing or he misses really badly. That's what Miami's offense is like when Jimmy's not on the floor. It's a handoff on the top of it, handoff screen, Bam Adebayo, either a moving screen or he goes driving inside, which either gives a switch of Jaylen Brown or as they did now recently with Grant Williams. And then you have Duncan Robinson, Gabe Vincent, and of course Max Strus in the middle there. I think Max Strus himself, he's been, started off hot, but he's been kind of lacking a little bit behind right next to Jimmy Butler. And again, that's not really saying much because both of those guys are still getting you like double-digit points at the end of the day. But the Heat's offense, it's very simple, but the momentum works so well. There's no way that these teams can even catch up. I think this is maybe the reason why we've seen Miami, of course, come back in games in Milwaukee first round. And, of course, in Game 1 and Game 2 as well in Boston in the Eastern Conference Finals. If they're moving the ball like this, and again, hot take maybe, I don't think so. The Heat could, if they make it out of the conference, they could win the finals. Because I'm not saying anything. I love Denver. I think out of everybody here, I get League Pass just to watch Denver. But if they're beating teams like the Celtics and the Bucks, there's no way. I'm sorry. Like Jamal Murray, like there's no way you have God. Like the Heat got God on their side with Gabe Vincent. That's what I feel like is happening right now. Like those guys are spraying and praying and getting 50 plus, efficiency on offense. It's just ridiculous. But what I would say for the future for the Celtics, because I know you guys will talk about the series is over, Celtics looking off season, no one's come back down 3-0, and that is true. 169 or 167 series have resulted in losses for teams down 3-0. But if there is a team to do it, it is the Boston Celtics. As I mentioned before, momentum switches is the identity. Celtics themselves, they got the players. Hey, you guys are laughing right now. I'm telling you, I got good faith.
I'm not laughing at you. I'm laughing at Jonka, bro. That's not me.
This man eating chips right now, man. Come on.
Shaq and Chuck laughing at each other.
Unbelievable. Speaking of which, thank God that like TNT did the Eastern Conference Finals because I couldn't handle Mike Breen bang in game. I'm glad Kevin Harlan's got that for the job. But yeah, I mean, for what I would say, if there is a team to do this, compared to like what we have in the two situations between the Lakers and what Boston is, I mean, it would be the Celtics. They got the pieces. It's more or less a mentality. And of course, as I mentioned before, the Heat, they've been having historical runs, and they have 3 historical games for individual guys, of course. But at the end of the day, it's also the Celtics that need to spot up. The fourth quarter shooting, I think, is a one thing that a lot of people look at. But I think it's more or less not just Jason Tatum and Jaylen Brown, but you have Marcus Smart, who has chances to move the ball around, getting easy turnovers.
Horrible.
Terrible. After the first half of the first game, he's just been just a turnover machine, in my opinion. And then Al Horford efficiently, since that first round, hasn't really been the same.
Hey,
so,
man, his wife has been doing the more talking on Twitter than Al is actually doing.
No. That's actually, I think that's the sister. I don't think that's the wife.
Is it Anna Horford?
Yeah.
She's talking a lot of garbage on Twitter.
Every playoff series. But yeah, I mean, you just gotta love NBA Twitter. But yeah, I mean, again, and I hate to say this because, and also, if I was gonna end off with anything, I'll probably end off with this. Stop listening to ESPN analytics. All right. 87% last year for the NBA Finals for the Celtics. Why are they feeding teams? I don't get this. You know what's the worst thing about it too? I don't know if this is true or not. I hope it's not true. On Twitter, somebody took a screenshot of, the odds for the series after game 3. They said Celtics 72%.
Mm-hmm.
That's a straight statistics that they're using in a computer. I don't think they have JJ Redick and Stephen A. Smith discussing over these analytics. But again, as I mentioned before, if there is a team to go back 3-0 down, it is the Boston Celtics. Again, mentality-wise, they just have to fix.
They got tomorrow's game, Celtics 65% to Miami's 34%. ESPN analytics.
You just gotta love the stats, man. The AI generators is just going crazy.
ChatGPT.
All right, who wants to take a stab at Brandon first?
Unbelievable.
I think Jonka should just.
I think Jonka should give us the honors.
I want to hear what he has to say.
Me too.
With the glasses and everything.
Gonna stress here.
This man.
Okay.
We got 20 minutes.
Listen, Brad. You my guy.
I appreciate that part. At least you open up with a good statement.
Bro, but if Jimmy Butler had basically a rest day, and it was a Sunday, and you guys were supposed to win that game, and now Jimmy Butler with basically 3 days of rest, you don't think he's gonna end it on a Tuesday night? Oh my God! Listen, bring out some brooms, because this series is over. I know you think I understand your point that if out of the Lakers and the Celtics, the Boston has the best chance of coming back, even though it's 0 for 149 in the history of the NBA. But I digress. Like I said last week, if you guys remember, the players that will make the difference in this game, in this series, my bad, was gonna be Martin, Vincent, and Strus. I said it, and I think we've already proven it right.
Yep.
And then I also said it can go either both ways because, like I said, I needed to see Jason Tatum take that next step. Man, did he take a big step back? That's what he, bro.
Yeah, 2 30-point games.
Bro, he's like that meme with Homer Simpson. Is like with his dad walking in and then walking right back out.
Man.
I don't know. And then I saw today all about Missoula, whatever his name is. Missoula Blangata, whatever. Yeah. Some Aladdin character, whatever.
What?
Just finish your point, bro. Finish your point.
You said the name right. Bro.
I just want to celebrate on
Well,
road already,
well,
man. This series is cooked. Jimmy Cooks will be playing that song all night by Drake. And I'm just going to be drinking my cafecito. I'm be hitting all the campanas, honking my horn, just knowing that I have a picture of Brandon on his couch crying. I'm sorry, Brandon.
Dude.
Over, bro. Over. I don't know what else to say.
Hey man, I've been through worse Celtic losses, man. All right. But
listen, Brandon, I told Jonka last night, if the Celtics come back from 3-0 and win this series, I'm changing careers. I'm giving up on this career. I'm changing careers. I'm not talking about sports. I'm not watching basketball ever again.
damn, man.
Soccer. You got to raise the stakes. Soccer. You'll never watch another soccer match ever again.
I don't know about soccer. Relax.
Hey, Danny, we need the people need Plug Talk Sports though. We can't just be ending it like that.
I'm handing in the keys off. The keys are being handed off to you, Brandon. Like you can change this background to green if you want.
I will have to say though, I know the series haven't been done yet for either side, but I did correctly predict Heat and Nuggets.
Where are you, Conor McGregor now? Mystic Mac predicts a KO in the first round.
I'm sorry.
My foot was a balloon.
My foot is a balloon.
By the way, I just wanted to just chime in. It's 71-58 Lakers with 30 seconds left in the second quarter.
Yeah, LeBron's cooking right now.
Yeah, they're doing crazy. They're doing work right now.
All right, who's up next? Who's taking the next shot? Isaac, you up.
Look, man, I think Jonka really went in, you know. he cooked the pig like some bacon. So I don't think there's
Brandon right now, like this. It's Brandon and Akaha China, bro.
Are we doing a roast or are we doing like takes? Come on, man.
Look, I have to shout out J. Cole because without J. Cole, there would be no Caleb Martin in a Heat uniform. I don't know if you guys heard that story.
Yeah,
Brandon's like,
but
I was not expecting that.
My other takeaway too is like I noticed not even the last game, but it was the one before the Celtics arena, the TD Garden. They were playing a song by Pitbull, and I felt like I forget what song. I forgot what song it was by Pitbull, but they were playing that song, and I think that was really the reason why the Celtics started feeling the heat, because they try to play with Pitbull, man. They try to play with our culture, the Miami culture, the cafecito, the beach. You know what I'm saying? Our I don't know, bro. Our traffic. They try to play with our culture.
Our traffic's part of the
traffic. This man said they play with Okeechobee Road traffic.
You can't go anywhere in Miami without sitting in traffic for at least 30 minutes, bro.
Yeah, Brandon, I totally wake up in the morning and look forward to being stuck on 836.
Bro, not even from your house to Isla de la Canaria is like 40 minutes. But anyway, my point is, you already said it. You already said it, Brandon. You said it in the chat. So there's really no reason to really do any hot takes or whatever. The depth of the Heat is so key in this series, and has been so key in all of the series that the Heat have been in. I mean, yes, Giannis goes down in the first round, and they can make excuses. People can say, well, Giannis didn't play this game or didn't play that game. But who was the other superstar on that team? He didn't show up.
Middleton.
He's that guy. Well, he got erased, right? Nobody heard from him ever again. And I hope they rip up his contract. Milwaukee already fired their coach, et cetera, et cetera. The Knicks, you hear about
Julius Randle.
Julius Randle disappears. So you can say like in these games, the guys that are supposed to show up against the Heat, they don't show up. In this case, it's Tatum. Brown has been somewhat consistent, but like the last game, Tatum just 14 points. What is that? So like if these guys like Brandon, if you're talking about the future of the Celtics, you're talking about those two superstars on that squad that need to step up for max contracts. Well, where are they? ¿Dónde están? Because they haven't shown up. Haven't shown up. They've been somewhat decent in stretches or whatever, but when they need to do it, where was that 50-point game from Jason Tatum last night? Where was it?
Look, what I would say about that part, like, because sorry to interrupt you, Isaac. What I would say about that part, because I think there is, in a sense of NBA, and especially when it comes down to us being sports journalists, there's a relevancy issue where we look at guys who are just coming off of a game. JT in the first two games had 20, 30-point games. Of course, game 3. By the third quarter, that game was over. Joe pulled in his guys. I mean, Payne Pritchard balled down in the fourth quarter like a playground field trip. So, for Tatum himself, it was a poor shooting night. Jaylen Brown, poor shooting night. But at the end of the day, I will, again, I don't know exactly how Brad Stevens is going to pull up $500 million in the next 2 years. But I would love to see the Celtics bring back those guys, because I know for a fact I'd rather have JT on my team late into games and than anybody else in the Eastern Conference. And I will stick with that, let alone Jaylen Brown. I mean, the guy's 26 years old. But this situation, I can't imagine him going to any other place. Like, where's he going to go to Atlanta? You know what I mean? Like what? Like Collins and Trae Young's going to be a duo? Yeah. But either way, though, but just to go back on your take, though, JT wasn't there because the Celtics weren't there. We talk about one guy, two guys. It's a team, man. I mean, as I mentioned before, it's a mentality. It's a momentum. And the Heat's momentum, as for the entire panel, I think everyone can agree, the role players have been pushing this team. I don't think it's a Jimmy Butler narrative anymore this season. Last year, heavily Jimmy Butler stuff. After the first round, we look at Kevin Love, we look at Caleb Martin, Gabe Vincent. I think Gabe Vincent, yes. But I'm telling you right now, and of course a little bit of Bam Adebayo as well. I'm going to give Bam his flowers. I think honestly he's been definitely improved his game. I talk about his isolation, but now his IQ being more aggressive. I mean, the Knicks series, he needs the Knicks series. Him against Julius Randle, love seeing that, and he locked in on Julius Randle the majority of the time. So the Heat just been getting better and better, which is the scary part. They haven't really peaked yet, in my opinion.
Yeah. So my question just begs again, like, you're saying game 7. So what is it when you look at the team that convinces you that they're going to show up out of nowhere? They're going to show up con la carne y la papa. They're going to just randomly just show up. What is it about the team? Is it a feeling? Is it your belief? Is it a hope? Or is there an analytic, a stat or an analytic that you're looking at?
Well, of course it's 50-50 because, again, I mean, as we mentioned on this pod, I am a Celtic fan, grew up a Celtic fan in South Florida of all places. However, I do look back at these games. When I mentioned before with momentum shifts, the Miami Heat, obviously historic runs, historic games 1, 2, and 3. But then you look at the Boston Celtics, 6th man of the year, Malcolm Brogdon, Derek White, second all-team defense for the NBA. You also have Robert Williams, Al Horford. I mean, these guys have been playing like a shell of themselves throughout this entire series. And not even that. Joe Mazzulla, I want to see Payne Pritchard and Sam Hauser on the floor. Sam Hauser in the regular season was a huge part, and the reason why we were such an efficient team shooting. He shot like almost better than 40% from three-point range. The Celtics have been dealing with a 7-man rotation for no reason. They're honestly, in my opinion, the Celtics playing at their full potential, the deeper team in this series, and unfortunately, we haven't seen that yet. Grant Williams hasn't had that type of series yet. Derek White hasn't been even shown out since Game 2 and for the first round against Atlanta. If there's a team to do it, it's the Celtics. We got guys on the bench that can be starting lineups, let alone for half of the league.
But why? Like, if Joe can't even get his team ready, like, what are they gonna do? They're gonna bring Paul Pierce back, Kevin Garnett.
Hey,
I wish. If I saw KG coming out with a stretcher, like,
it's over. It's over. There's no take here.
There is a take. The take is very simple. The Celtics play at their potential, and the Heat don't have guys shooting at 70% or 60% from three, which, again, if you can do it through 3 games, it's unlikely doing it through another 3 games. So I'm just saying, the Celtics, they have a great chance. The only thing that's about it is that they got to step up not only defensively, but their offense got to match the hits. It's all about momentum runs.
Listen,
so you're saying
not only have the Heat been whooping some ass the whole playoffs, you expect all of a sudden for them to stop for 4 games straight to then give you
I just scared one of the cats clapping. My bad.
I gotta give my take. I gotta give my take.
Go ahead.
I gotta give my take. Listen, the reason why this series is over and why I don't think the Celtics will magically reappear. I can't even look at Jonka right now. Their body language and the rest of that game, they look like they just done. They're done. The only 2 players I think that showed up and showed heart for the Celtics yesterday was Marcus Smart and Grant Williams. I think those are the only 2 guys that were trying to bring the intensity and be, hey, guys, let's go. Let's get back in this. Those are the only 2 guys. Other than that, first of all, I can't stand Al Horford for my life. I hope he retires soon because I can't
stand his mouthpiece on his waistband. That's just gross, man. What are you doing?
Yeah, I cannot stand him. And look, Celtics fans, or not Celtics, but the Celtics, been talking a lot of smack for the past year that they beat us. And, they started it. Al Horford started it, and now we're just giving back the same energy.
Yeah, I don't know about that.
We're giving back.
I've been doing that thing for the last 2 years, man. You guys just catching up now. But
giving back the same energy. And again, I just think that their body language, their mentality it's shot. Yeah. Their mental is shot. And when you go into the game with that mental state, it's hard. It's very hard. I don't know, man. I'm very disappointed in Jaylen Brown. Not really Jaylen Brown as much, but Jason Tatum. I really expected more from him, especially down the stretch. I know he did have, those 30-point games, but when it's come to the 4th quarter, like you said, Brandon, he's been turning the ball over a whole lot. Hasn't been taking care of the basketball. He was like LeBron in that final series against the Mavericks in the 4th quarter, just disappeared. That's what Jason Tatum's been in this series. And I said at the beginning of this series, I thought, this is going to be a great series. It's going to go to 7. And I'm ecstatic that the Heat are up 3-0. Don't get me wrong. But it's always good to have that old-fashioned bar fight with Boston and have it go 7. It's exciting, like we did last year.
Oh, yeah. I mean, not even that. Like the first 2 games, it felt like that. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But of course, the results differ, but it did feel like a bar fight.
It did. It was very close. It was the first 2 games. It was back and forth, back and forth, back and forth. I don't know what the hell happened yesterday. Like I was sitting on my couch and I was thinking, I told my dad, I'm like, dude, like, what kind of roids did Gabe Vincent get on? Like, I have never seen this from Gabe Vincent.
Bro, is Damian Lillard. Like, I don't understand it, man.
I didn't understand it either. And I get your point. Like, if you're on the other side of that, like, what the hell can you do, man? Like, you can't do anything.
I think the Celtics were at Scarlett's last night. Party way too hard, and KOD, Scarlett's. I know way too many of them, but you know what I'm saying.
Oh my God.
My thing is what worked for the Celtics was going down low to Robert Williams. That worked. But I don't know why they insisted on continuing to try to force the 3 ball.
It's because of that defense. I'm telling you, as I mentioned before, that 2-3 feels like a 4-1 sometimes.
They could not drain their shots. Al Horford could not drain those, and they had good looks. Al Horford could not drain the 3. Derek White could not drain the 3. It was Marcus Smart could not drain the 3. It was just they couldn't. The only thing I felt that worked was Robert Williams down low.
Yeah. And I mean, the weirdest thing about, especially with Joe, he's been kind of like, and I hate to do this for Joe Mazzulla, but the one thing I have an issue with is the fact that he's trying to switch rotations on a 7-man rotation. Instead of look at his deep bench, he's like, oh, Derek White out of the starting lineup, let's put Robert Williams in for him. Oh, Rob's not doing well? Okay, no problem. Let's put Derek White in for a little more offense. Like, he's only doing like 2 changes. He hasn't done anything drastic when the season needs something drastic, which is the only thing for Joe. And what I would say the last thing, because definitely on Celtic Twitter, they've been talking about, do we get a new coach? Is Joe gone after this year? If you ask me, the only 2 other guys I want besides Joe that is right now available, like
Doc Rivers.
Look, the thing about Nick Nurse, because his one championship was in that one single season that Kawhi Leonard was with the Toronto Raptors. Yeah. Afterwards, you saw a little bit of regression from that Toronto team where you had guys with, wide wingspans defensively. That was built to be a dominant top 5 team in defense. And especially with Scotty Barnes. I love Scotty Barnes. Yeah. But he didn't use them to their full potential, let alone even make the playoffs as they should. But
Kawhi did leave the game, and besides that championship they won, Kevin Durant and Klay Thompson got injured. So
yeah, exactly. Yeah. So that's the thing. I look at Nick Nurse like under a microscope because again, NBA champion, G League champion. But then you look at the other side. The only 2 coaches that I would love to have for the Boston Celtics, Monty Williams, and then I pray he comes out of retirement because we love to see some good offense of 4 seconds. Mike D'Antoni. If we can get Mike D'Antoni, I think Monty Williams will probably be the bigger option, in my opinion. Winning record, took the Suns again, developed Devin Booker to what he probably is right now, and honestly, as a player coach that has an actual culture to him, that's going to be a great hire. I think in the sense of a top 3, you get Monty Williams, you get yourself, Mike D'Antoni out of retirement, and then you figure out a way. As a Celtic fan, I'm just saying this, but Doc Rivers. Why not?
What about Mike Budenholzer?
Like, look,
Brand's like,
look, he brought like Jeff Teague and Al Horford to 60 wins in Atlanta, but the man can't do much in the playoffs. You know what I mean? Like, I don't expect him to go crazy in the postseason. Besides, of course, 2021, where they went on the historic run for Milwaukee to win a championship for the first time in almost, 50 years? After that, first round exit, second round exit. I mean, how many Eastern Conference Finals has he even been to as a head coach, right? There's not a huge resume right there for me compared to the other guys, of course, that are in the pool. So,
listen, this is how we're going to end off. The Miami Heat. Look, if the Celtics, I think the Celtics, they can get 1. I'll give them 1. But if not, the Miami Heat end things tomorrow night at the Kaseya Center, and we will be FaceTiming you from Bird Road. And then guess what? It's going to be a party because the next night, Wednesday night, we're going back for the Florida Panthers. It's going to be a back-to-back party night in South Florida for the Heat.
I'm calling
and for the Florida Panthers, baby.
I'm not going to be there for Tuesday, but I'll definitely be there for Wednesday, baby. We're going to the Stanley Cup. I'm going to find a way to get a ticket. Probably going to max on my credit card, but we're going to figure it out, guys. Build up the live.
All right, guys. Heat and Panthers on their way, getting one step closer to their respective finals. I hope you guys enjoyed this episode. I hope we didn't go too rough on Brandon.
Bro,
he's alive. He's okay. It's all love. It's all love, baby. It's all love, man. But we'll see next week. There will not be an episode since it is Memorial Day. I'm gonna give everyone a break, a nice little rest. There's the dab, a little rest, and we'll see you guys 2 weeks from now for episode 96. Myself, Isaac, Brandon, and Jonka signing off. Hope everyone has a great rest of the week. Go Heat, go Panthers. See you guys soon.